Hello, good Woch. That's it. I mean, we went through Pesach, and I saw something interesting today regarding the the parallels and difference between Yom Kippur and Pesach. You can say, like, supposedly, like, why would Pesach have anything to do with Yom Kippur? But the interesting point is that Yom Kippur and Pesach are the only two holidays, if you can call them that, that there is a dietary restriction. On Pesach, on Yom Kippur, you can't eat anything. You know, eat, drink, no matter what, for a whole day. Pesach, the restriction is only on chametz. But on the other hand, whereas on Yom Kippur, it's true you can't eat anything, but you can have it in your house. You can have it, no problem there. In Pesach, chametz, not only you can eat it, but it can be seen and it can be found in like a minuscule nothing. And on top of the fact that many times not eating at all can be easier than saying not to eat this and eat this. It's a different kind of consciousness. And the person that wrote this article, Rabbi Shlomowitz, he says that Yom Kippur represents, the Kohen Gadol going into Kodesh HaKodeshim one time a year. Nobody eats. Am Yisrael are on a gather of angels. They don't eat. They all the five attributes of Malachim are there on Yom Kippur. In a sense, I don't think in a sense, in fact, Yom Kippur is wiping the slate clean. You have the Kohen Gadol, the greatest tzaddik of the generation, going in one day to the holiest place on earth, and in a sense, Am Yisrael are all Malachim. In a very real way, they're all going in there with him. He's representing everyone, is going there, and the slate is wiped clean. This is some kind of a reset button. Pesach is not like that. Pesach is every single Jew is responsible for his own chametz. Both on Yom Kippur, anybody eats is kores. The neshama gets ostracized. And Pesach, anybody who eats chametz, the neshama gets ostracized. But Pesach is there's no avoid of Kohen Gadol. Pesach is the avoid of every single Jew. And the choice between chametz and matzah is like he went through over there to I'm not sure that this is a tangent that should go in through. Basically, eating the matzah and not eating the chametz is a choice of between good and bad in the very same thing, because both matzah and chametz are bread. like the bread would be like the body. Chometz would be like the body of the bread, whereas matzah would be the neshama, as it were, of the bread.
100%.
And what you need to do is you need to pick out dafka to choose the neshama of the bread, which means eating matzahs. And not turn to the body of the bread, which is chometz. The soul is an eternal aspect of the existence of men. Is over time, over place. Chometz is also, as I said, so on Yom Kippur, Yom Kippur also, it's basically Yom Kippur, the entire day is considered beyond time. Beyond time, beyond place. It says, Yamim Yitzaru, days were made, V'lo echad b'hem, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu owns one of them. Some say his law is an al, which means one of them is not a day. That's Yom Kippur, that includes in it all the days of the year. It's a day which is beyond time. The thing is that we Jews in this world have an adventure with the goal of extricating the eternal from the temporal, from the temporary, the soul from the body, if you will. On Yom Kippur, the whole day is beyond time. You don't eat anything at all. The Kohen Gadol goes to Kodesh HaKodeshim, the whole thing is done, and the slate is wiped clean. As I said, it's a reset button. All you need to do is just no need, that's it. All the tefillas and everything else in Yom Kippur is secondary. By the way, if anybody, thinks, something, I really need to daven, but I don't have koyach, maybe I should eat something, get koyach to daven. No. Stay at home, lie in bed, but don't eat. Because that's the main directive Yom Kippur is not to eat. Now, obviously, if a person is not well, eating chatzis shir is considered fasting. It's not like you're allowed to eat. You're not allowed to eat. Chatzis shir is fasting. But basically, it's one size fits all. Everybody is forgiven. Pesach is what everybody does his own avodah. You do your own avodah, and you choose the right from the wrong, the good from the bad, the soul from the body, in the bread itself. You choose chaya olam over chaya shol, matzah over chametz. This is supposed to go with you into the year. Pesach is educating you to choose good over bad, beyond time to time and place, eternity over right here, right now. This is what we're supposed to take from Pesach with us as we move along. But we falter. We're not, sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. We fall here, we do that. That's why you have a Yom Kippur that wipes the slate clean. And you're starting from zero all over again. Pesach that's the avodah, that's the work. You're supposed to pick and choose and pick the good and discard the bad. This is the koyach that Pesach gives every person as he moves off from Pesach. Pesach is in you. The ability to choose the good over bad, the eternal over the temporary, is instilled in you by the Pesach and the matzah that you have eaten. Hashem. Arina Bakol Yisrael. So let's take a look at Sipurey Baal Shemtov. There's this wagon that was going on a very bumpy road with two Hasidim in it that were traveling to Rabbi Baruch of Mezhebush, the Rebbe. And they went through a forest. Suddenly, one of the Hasidim saw that there's a candle that was burning in the middle of the forest. So they were very curious to stop the wagon, and they went to the candle, and they saw in the very heart of the I don't know what it was. I mean, of the woods, the ematzeva, the caver, and the candle was burning. And the word said here is buried Moshe ben Amram, that overcame his Yetzer more than Yosef HaTzadik. The Matzeva and what was written on it were amazing. There was no hint on what happened. So before they left, like they marked the way so they can know the place of the Matzeva. And when they came to Mezhebush, they told the Rebbe, Baruch, about what they saw. So Rebbe Baruch of Mezhebush says, I want to see this Matzeva in my own eyes. And he left with them to the forest. When he got to the place, the tzaddik looked at the Matzeva. Then he went to one of the close villages to ask if anybody knows the story. They went from one to the next, nobody knew it. Then they said that there is, as it frequently is, there's an elder in one of the villages who perhaps knows the story. They went to him. It was a goy, an old man. He was very sick. He was very weak. He was laying down in bed. And when he saw Rebbe Mezhebush, with all his strength, he sat on the bed and he says, very exciting, you are the grandson of Sirlik, as the Baal Shemtov. Why did you come here? So the old man nodded and said, I actually got to my advanced age only to tell the story of this particular Matzeva. Let me tell you what happened. It says, many years ago, there was a landlord, a very wealthy landlord, that used to have his clothes sewn, tailored by Jewish tailor from Mezhebush. And when he needed alterations done, he would ask the tailor to send his apprentice, a Jewish boy named Moshe. And Moshe would stay a day or two in his house. He was doing alterations. And that wealthy man had a single daughter that wasn't married yet. And Moshe and his good nature, whatever it is, they liked, it was very, the wealthy man and his wife, they liked it a lot. They decided he's the proper man to marry their daughter. So they invited him, to do alterations, whatever it is. And they did everything in order for him to enjoy his stay. At a certain point, they raised the suggestion that he married their daughter. But Moshe refused completely. He says, I'm a Jew, I cannot marry a non-Jew. But landlords are not landlords because they give up so easily. They said to Moshe, if you will be willing to marry our daughter, we will leave you everything that we own. They will make you a very, very wealthy person. And he said, no way. I mean, it's a wonderful offer, but I cannot do that. There's nothing more to talk about. Now, this landlord was not used to people refusing him. So he jailed the boy and told him, think about it. Another day, the boy would not do it. And the daughter was very hurt, from the stance of this boy. And she closed herself in her room. She stopped eating, and her condition was going downhill. One morning, the parents of the daughter were stunned to discover that their daughter passed away. So obviously, where did they, aim the brunt of their anger? To Moshe. Says, our daughter died because of you, and her father was incensed. He says, your punishment, he told him, is going to be that you are going to join her. And he called some of his servants, and together they attacked the Jew, and they killed him. And they buried him in the same grave as their daughter. While this is going on, the tailor started wondering, whatever happened to his apprentice. But the guy said, I don't know what you're talking about. He finished his job and got his payment, and he left. And the tailor thought, it's the truth. So that's the way that Moshe actually took his secret to his grave. So he said, at that time, says the old man, I was a shepherd, and I would sleep, in the field. So one day, your grandfather, Sulik, he said to Ebo, woke me up from my sleep and asked me to come with him. And we went to the kever, we went to the grave. And under the instructions of your grandfather, I took out the body of Moshe and I carried it to the forest. And there I dug a new kever and I put them at Seva. And when we finished, it's a Cyrillic promised me that b'schus the help that I gave him, I will be zeicher to longevity. And he said, and your grandfather told me further that if one day his grandson, my grandson, his grandson, will come to me, and he described how this grandson is going to look, which looks just like you, that I will tell him the story of the Matzeva and the story of Moshe, the apprentice of the tailor. And now that I told the story, it's my time to leave this world. And very shortly thereafter, he passed away. First of all, of course, Baal Shemtov's story, all over Eretz Yisrael. We have the Kvarim of Gedolei Yisrael, Tanoim, Amoraim. How do we know? How do we know who they are, where they're buried? Rabbi Arizal pointed out every single place. How does he know? How did he know? The answer is because on top of a place that a person is buried, the neshama remains, the nefesh remains always. By tzaddikim, even more stays. But in every kever, the nefesh remains there. And the tzaddikim that have divine eyes, literally, can see that. They can see exactly who it is, what he is, especially since the avodah of the toil and the function or the job of the tzaddikim is to rectify the soul of the departed. And Rabbeinu also said that rectifying the soul of the departed is far easier than rectifying the souls of people who are still living. He says because the departed, when you tell them to do something for their tikkun, they do it right away. Because they already know what's at stake. The living still have, their illusions, maybe you have a choice not to do it, but one of the incredibly important part of the Jewish faith, the understanding of Jewish existence. Kadosh Baruch Hu created the world from nothing to something. The only one who can create something from nothing is Kadosh Baruch Hu, who is at the same time a something and at the same time a nothing. What does it mean Kadosh Baruch Hu is a nothing? Or what are you saying? Some kind of coffee house paradox. But we understand things with our own logic, which is very limited. When we say that Kadosh Baruch Hu is a quote unquote nothing and he's something, it is a derivative of the description that we have, as it were, of Kadosh Baruch Hu, that he is endless. What does endless mean? Endless doesn't just mean that it continues and continues and continues and never ends. Endless means that it has no beginning and it has no end. That's true Ein Sof, that's true endlessness. No beginning and no end. And the way that we understand existence, anything that doesn't have a beginning does not exist. Is an Ein. Anything that doesn't end is the ultimate of isness, of existence. Kadosh Baruch Hu is both non-existent and both existing in the most ultimate way possible. Only someone, as it were, that is both a nothing and a something can bring something from nothing to something. This attribute of having to be in both realms at the same time, so you're able to control that, is given over to the tzaddikim, who in this world take the righteous, they take the temporary and they make it eternal. So their lives are eternal, even while they're still in body. They see eternity. It's very simple. You don't have to believe in any kind of witchcraft or kinds of, would you, or whatever. It's very simple. If you shut your eyes from looking at this world, you'll be able to see heavenly things. The more we open our eyes to see in this world, the less we see of eternity. Tzaddikim don't see this world at all. They see all the oilness. They see eternity. Tzaddikim see olam hazeh and olam haba. This is why tzaddikim, the great tzaddikim, the really great tzaddikim, their job is to work with the departed neshamas. The Baal Shemtov did it. Arizal did it, of course. Rabbeinu, that was his main job. That's what he said. The main avodah is with the neshamas of the departed. The Baal Shem Tov had these eyes. The Baal Shem Tov was the Rebbe on countless realms and olamas, all the way to infinity. And he could see. It's very, very important for us. By the way, this shir tonight is dedicated to the memory of my mother-in-law, passed away Erev Pesach, and Carl and Selma Bas Irving. I assume Irving is a Ram, I'm not sure. And so then Neshama so Ma'aliyah Bezat Hashem. It's very interesting that the what we're saying here, what we're seeing here is nagea to these inyanim. A tzaddik exists in this world, in the next world, at the same time, both before he passes away and after he passes away. Hold on just 1 second, please. So only a tzaddik who is a ben bais, both in this world and the next world, can help people in the inyonim of this world and next world. Rabbeinu said, if you took a deceased who passed away and you gave him another chance to daven, to pray, he would really pray properly because he knows what's at stake. It is said, in Shalashilus I saw, together with my wife, it says that Dirshu Hashem ve'uzoi, request Hashem and his might, Bakshu Fanov Tamid, request his face at all time. The tzaddikim are the ones, it says, that give oiz, nu oiz le'elokim, give might to Hashem. These are the tzaddikim. They can give strength to Elokim, and for things to be fixed in the Bria, of course. So the tzaddikim are called uzoi, they're called Hashem's might. Dirshu Hashem ve'uzoi, look for, demand Hashem and uzoi and the tzaddikim, because it's through looking for the tzaddikim, for inquiring about the tzaddikim, getting close to the tzaddikim, you can get to Hashem. Bakshufanov Tamid, request his face at all time. The Zohar Kodesh says, what is the face of the Shekhinah? The tzaddikim are the face of the Shekhinah. Ampe Shekhinah. Look for the tzaddik and you'll find the Kodesh Baruch. This is what the story tells us. People think, Zem mitzvah zeh schora, you see people that lo aleinu dal kiddush Hashem, and people can get very discombobulated by this. They get confused. Like, what is this? What's going on? The answer is that the Jew is a different thing. The thing that drives the nations of the world crazy is because they figure, when a person's alive, this is all there is, and when a person dies, it's finished. So they figure if the Chas v'Chalila kill us, Shemirachem, that they have eliminated us. But they don't know that we don't even belong in this world. This world is just a tool for us to get to the next one. They can kill us, but they can't kill us. And it drives them crazy, and they know it. So, Ezrat Hashem, each and every one of us, Chaya Olam, Let's take a look at Sichos Haran for this week. Hold on. Here we go. Okay. And he says as follows. I heard, this is Sicha 240. I heard from, I think Rabbi Lozo or Bavrom, I'm not sure, from Teflin, that said that which Rabbeinu Zichron Levrochem he didn't want the Olam, his Hasidim, to be Melamdim. And he said that it's that he told Rabbeinu that it's better to be a Melamed. And he said Sipurey Baal Shemtov that it's very good to be a Melamed, to learn. It's a holy melacha, whatever you need to do. Someone has to be a Melamed. Obviously, the more Elich a Melamed is, the better it is. So Rabbeinu said, first of all, I don't know if Baal Shem Tov said it. But even if he said it, every tzaddik ador has a koyach to determine for his generation the way these generations behave. And I'm telling you that now it is better to Avodas Hashem not to be a Rebbe, not to be a Melamed of children. And he spoke, and he told to me, the Nelson says, in a different way. But this was the gist of what he said. And one time, Rabbeinu speak to one of his people who was a Melamed, who was a Rebbe in Cheder, and asked him, how much money do you get? What is your schalim? So he said, so and so. Rabbeinu calculated how much do you get per day. And it came out to a very, very small sum. He says, look, if you calculate how much 1 hour, how much do you get for 1 hour of learning? It'll be pennies, literally pennies, especially those days. So if you are mevatel 1 hour of learning, you're losing oil mabo for pennies. A few pennies, I don't know, $1, $10. But if you were to do business, and chas v'chalila, you'll guzzle, you'll cheat your friend in the business. Some real money. Maybe some oinus, whatever. Because even a small penny, even a penny. He says because it's impossible not to make mistakes when you're doing business. He says, for sure, for some small change, he will be morchel you. But that hour that you're mevatel from learning with the child, the balabais, the father, will never ever forgive you. So for a few pennies, you're losing olam haba. That's the reason why it is not worthwhile to be a melamed. Probably, at least in my mind, the most important lesson to take out of this sicha is there is a point of view of this world, and there's a point of view of next world. Sometimes, when you want to be an Oved Hashem, you can also come to the wrong calculation. It's a wrong cheshbon. And somebody wants to be a Melamed Tinekis, I mean, it's a holy craft, obviously. But the Tzaddik Rabbeinu is giving you an answer to take a different look at it. Sometimes you're better off doing business than doing that, because if you Welsh in business, it can either be retrieved or can be moichem. But if a person is a melamed, and he Welshes on his job, and it can happen, we're only human. It's an eternal loss. This kind of yishuv adas, it's not a cheshbon that a person can do on his own. This is why it is so imperative, it's so vital to hear the tzaddikim, to listen to the tzaddikim, to hear what is the true presence of mind, what is the true cheshbon, what is the emes, and what is not. I mean, me, I would say, well, of course, be a melamed, better do something, religious, something clean. Don't be busy with, I don't know what. And Rabbeinu says, no, take a look deeper. This is the eitz of the tzaddikim. This is the eitz of emes. There's no other way to hit the emes la'amita except through the advice and das of the tzaddikim. This is what we need to do. If you find you don't know what to do, you need to have a rav, somebody that you believe in his avodas Hashem. He is a Talmud of the tzaddik. He's a Talmud of Rabbeinu. You know that he himself is a lacha-keeping Jew. He's staying away from kedusha. He's kedushadik, and and third thing, that you have a sprach with him. You can talk to him. You can say, listen, I want to know what to do this, want to do that. I'm not sure. And let him guide you. People are struggling with decisions every single day of their lives. And they don't speak to anyone. They're not sure. Should do this and this, that. Rabbi Nosson will ask Rabbeinu everything. He would tell him everything, and he would ask him about everything. I know that I do the same thing with my Rav. I ask him practically everything. I'm not sure, I ask. Ask, 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 ask. Kadosh Baruch Hu B'ezrat Hashem will bring us great miracles. Very soon, B'ezrat Hashem. Hopefully, I hope B'ezrat Hashem before Rosh Chodesh. B'ezrat Hashem will be Zoche Bias Mashiach Tzidkeinu B'ram Yameinu Amen. And all the very best for all of us. Our best simcha, a lot of simcha. Kol Tov, and have a great week and a great summer.